Hello everyone, I'm Jason. 2 weeks ago we did a video on the dangers of being roped together on moderate terrain in conditions that make falls more likely or self-arrest less probable. And last week we walked through a kind of continuum of rope work on snow, from faster and less secure to more secure but slower. There are links in the description. Well, one of those options in that second video was end roping, basically having a leader head up and having two climbers, one at the end of the rope and the other only a few meters in front of that end climber. We've got another link for a much more detailed video on end roping done on rock, but with mechanics that are the same as on snow. I was talking to someone about that process on snow, and they were asking about using only ice axes, as they had a lot more experience having everyone on the team carry a snow picket. So today we are going to talk about what was called by the person who taught it to me the +1 axe method. It works best on moderate terrain, but it is also extendable with modification to even more complicated climbing. Like anything though, there are pros and cons. The name is in reference to bringing one more axe than you have people on the team. So if you are climbing as a team of 3, then we would bring 4 ice axes. Let's build a scenario. A team of 3, yes, on moderate terrain, because if we have snow that is getting close to vertical, it's more likely to be some kind of neve and climbed with something resembling ice climbing techniques. Snow in lower angle terrain doesn't require any ropes unless it is for crevasse protection. Second, we have one climber who is comfortable enough to head up that terrain on lead, or even effectively soloing, more on that in a minute, while the other climbers are not comfortable doing so. It could be that the conditions are challenging, such as being iced up or very hard snow, and only one climber has the skills to be comfortable on it. It could be that it's not condition dependent, but simply that there is a sizable experience gap between one climber and the others. Of course, if the terrain or conditions are so severe that everyone wants a traditional belay, then we are pitching it out, not end roping instead. And if we know we are likely to do that, then bringing along double ropes for a team of 3 might make a lot of sense. But in our moderate scenario, we place one axe as an anchor. That initial anchor goes in as a catastrophe backup. Should the leader fall, the leader will try to self-arrest and a belay will be in place, so the fall goes on the anchor should it ever get that far. Now we can choose how to deploy the other axes, as we have 3 axes for 3 people. One choice could be that the leader takes one and heads up. Now each of the other 2 climbers have an axe. When at the top, the leader can place their axe as the new anchor. Notice that they've made their ascent with nothing but the catastrophe anchor at the bottom, in effect soloing the moderate terrain. Also, the leader would only have the one axe to place as an anchor, or maybe some other materials could be used to improvise a second leg of the anchor if conditions warranted. At the base, the climbers can dig up the axe once the rope is brought tight to the second climber and proceed up on belay. The second option would involve the leader taking 2 axes, and so there is only 1 axe remaining for the second and third climbers, at least for now. In this case, the leader could place an intermediate protection point with one of the axes before proceeding to the top to build that final anchor. Or, if by the leader's assessment, the climbing doesn't warrant that intermediate protection, there are now 2 axes available for the top anchor. Meanwhile, at the bottom, the one climber with an available axe must dig up the base anchor once the rope is tight, and again, both climbers now have 1 axe for proceeding upwards. Let's imagine even harder climbing though, and we start to see the extendability of this setup. Now, the climbing is difficult enough that the leader wants 2 axes while climbing, just for avoiding a fall. Make it more difficult still, and we'd probably want other types of intermediate protection placed, like slung rocks or ice screws or the like, and that same type of material will help us build a more robust anchor at the top. So, assuming the terrain is now too steep for both bottom climbers to end rope on the same rope, the second climber can top rope solo or Jumar the rope, techniques that would require a whole series of videos well beyond the scope of this one. Then, the third climber could also top rope solo, at which point we've turned this whole scenario into an application of the fix and follow technique, again a topic too big to be covered well here, or they could be belayed up. Change the ice axes to ice tools, give the leader a small pack and a haul line, and now we are talking about minimizing weight for an alpine team getting into serious terrain, and so on. But again, back to our more moderate terrain scenario. When weight becomes a big concern, such as on tall mountain objectives, as long as we are comfortable with the trade-offs we need to make in available protection for any lead portions of climbing, the +1 axe method provides some flexibility to deal with anchor building based on variable snow conditions, while dramatically cutting down excess gear. What do you usually take when you are on moderate snow? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you want to support us. For more information, you can go to our website at www.shortguysbetaworks.com. You can check out last week's video on other rope techniques for snow and glacier climbing, or you can check out our entire series called Cold for everything snow, ice, and winter. We'll see you next week and keep on getting more out of that big outside.